Another line that stuck out to me, his hand under my shirt is so large that it completely spans my rib cage. Bro, what? This man got Wreck-It Ralph hands. Today I'm going to be trying out a new format with this video. Usually when I talk about books I've read throughout the month, it's typically a sit down kind of video where I just stare at the camera the whole time and talk out of my ass for like 30 minutes. But this video will be a little bit different because this time I filmed whenever I finished reading a book in real time. So it's going to be like a combination of a reading vlog and also stuff that I'm doing throughout my day-to-day life. We'll have the grand combination of read with Cindy, travel with Cindy, and eat with Cindy. Also, I know you're probably wondering, how can I shop with Cindy too? Because this cardigan is cute as hell. Well, let me tell you, it's not just the cardigan, it's my whole damn fit. Look at this shit. This is the cutest I have looked in a whole damn year, and these are technically considered pajamas. And that's all thanks to Hot Topic, which is the sponsor of today's video. I have this giant haul of all the clothes that I got from Hot Topic. A lot of what I ordered has been loungewear because they have such cute clothes that I feel like I could wear them not just at home, but also outside. I feel like whenever it's the holidays or I'm just lounging around at home reading, I just need to be as comfortable as possible, and these clothes are perfect for that. So for example, one of my pajamas is Cardcaptor Sakura, but my favorite piece is the Care Bears cardigan. They even have heart buttons with the cardigan too, so I love all these little details. Any popular TV show or movie you can think of, they probably have it too. For example, my girlfriend loves Winnie the Pooh. I got her this denim Winnie the Pooh dress in her size because they also sell plus size fashion. I got her a Twilight handbag because she was obsessed with that growing up. She also really loves Kirby, so I got all these cute accessories for her. Especially on their website, not only can you search by different clothing category like shirts or pants or dresses, they have this entire section dedicated to pop culture where they break down every single fandom where you can buy merch for. So if you are a pop culture fan or a music fan, or you are looking to get a gift for a friend or family member who's really into fandoms, you should definitely check out Hot Topic. You can even get the clothes that I got too. I ordered it directly from the website. We can be matching and look all cute. So thank you once again to Hot Topic for sponsoring. Now let's start the reading vlog where I walk you through everything that was going on in my life, from what I ate to where I traveled to what books I read. Ugly angle to tell you about Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I'm like on chapter 16 or 17, over 60% into the audiobook, so I'm past the halfway point. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's a romance book about a scientist who's forced to work on a project with her arch nemesis. He's an engineer who was in her grad school. They just had a really bad first impression with each other, at least from her perspective, because she always thought that he hated her. Anytime she showed up to a room, he would like immediately want to leave or not engage with her at all. He would kind of ignore her or ice her out or never make eye contact with her. He even told her fiance when they were engaged that he could do better than her. His whole behavior around the main character is basically like that one scene where Edward Cullen sees Bella come into the classroom and he's like and she thinks he's like so disgusted by her, but in actuality he was like super turned on by her. It's like that scene, but like throughout the entire book. Now she's been offered a position at NASA to be a neuroscientist on a project that she's really excited for, but she is of course going to be paired up with him. She's starting to see the softer sides of him. There seems to be a disconnect between this narrative that she has in her head that he hates her to what he's actually doing in real life, where he's actually pretty nice to her and will back her up with stuff and defend her and her ideas. I actually expected to find it ridiculous for the main character to assume that her love interest hates her, and she really does insist it throughout the entire book. But I actually think it's pretty valid for her to have negative assumptions about him if he literally told her fiance that he could do better. That's a douchey thing to say. He'll probably have some ulterior motive that gets revealed later, but if this were in real life, I would definitely think that he's a douchebag. To be fair, I also run under the assumption that everyone hates me, so I can't really be the one to criticize her in this aspect. Also, Also, at some point, there was a donut that was saved for her and he ate her donut. And that is a legitimate way to resent someone. Is he probably acting weird and standoffish not because he hates her, but because he actually has a lot of strong romantic feelings for her? Yes. Is this predictable? Also yes. However, I am a simple bitch who loves the idea of big buff men protecting me. Something that we're getting consistently throughout this book is the emphasis of how big and massive this guy is. Even when you start the book, immediately you have to know that he's 6'4". And I'm like, yeah, of course. How else are we gonna know that we can climb him like a koala? I don't really care if a guy is super tall, but I know a lot of women do prefer tall men. So I think it's really funny that his tallness is so emphasized in these books. Like even when the main character and the guy are walking together, she notes that she has to walk 2 steps to match his 1 step because obviously he's so tall. I mean, at this point, we're basically just dealing with a long distance relationship. I wrote down some of the parts where his bigness is emphasized. There's a line where the main character sees the guy. Something happens, so he's pissed off. It says, he looks furious and big. Furiously big. And I don't know why it was sending me that she had to mention that he's big even when he's pissed off. Also, when I was listening to the audiobook while walking to a cafe today, I found out that the love interest wasn't able to become an astronaut because he was too big to fit the height requirement. But I know the truth. He probably has a big, humongous dick that couldn't even fit the spaceship. Like if we're gonna emphasize his hugeness, might as well go all the way. His fucking schlong won't fit the fucking rocket ship right there. He has his own rocket ship swinging around in his pants. A part that I read yesterday was him seeing her wear his shirt, which obviously is gonna be oversized because he's a massive fucking Hulk of a person. And then when he sees her, obviously he's very flustered because she's so small in his oversized shirt. I am a simple bitch because I like that shit too. There's a part where she is realizing something about her ex-fiance, and for context, his name is Tim. I cover my mouth and imagine Tim, very average sized Tim, confronting Levi, a not so gentle bison. Bruh, not the direct height comparison. I love that she just has to mention her ex-fiance that she thought she loved is very average size. You might as well just say that he has a micro penis next to Levi's big massive cock. I know that dick is big. I just know it, and I am eagerly anticipating the smut scenes. I'm already past the halfway point. Come on, just give it to me. I poke his bicep with my index finger. It's hard and warm through the sleeve of his shirt. I mean, alright. Levi is outside the bathroom, a hulking mountain leaning against the wall. Bruh, not a hulking mountain. Call me a landslide then, because I'm about to slide into that. What I want to know is, why does he want her so damn bad? Because there is a scene where she is operating an anonymous Twitter account and she's talking to another anonymous Twitter account, and it's very clearly him. This is not a spoiler, by the way, because this is something that is established very early on, and we all know that it's him, but they don't know that. He is saying through his anonymous account that he has a lot of strong feelings for this woman, but she's married, because he thinks that she's still married. He doesn't know the truth, which is that her fiance or ex-fiance had cheated on her with her best friend. Now that's some tea. Now with them working together, it's hard for him to contain his feelings. He writes this long ass monologue. I feel like in real life it would be kind of creepy, but I know what the author is trying to do, which is showing like the depth of how much he yearns for her, because he just thinks that she's so beautiful and he can't stop thinking about her. He'll even imagine some spicy stuff. I think he's had these feelings ever since grad school. And so what I'm wondering is, why is he so damn bad for this girl? I mean, I'm into that trope where the big burly man is a secret simp, but why though? I'm very curious if there's gonna be like any actual reason, because the way that he is just describing her and how smitten he is with her, he's in it so deep. I'm like, damn, did this bitch save your life or something? What is going on? But again, I like the yearning, so I'm gonna roll with it. Also, I really hope that he beats the ex-fiance's ass. Like, the ex is clearly an asshole, and so is the best friend too, for like cheating with him. There's like a part that we got to read about where she is like apologizing to the main character, and she's like crying and talking about how she envied the main character. She went on and on about it. I'm just like, bitch, shut up. I have no sympathy for you. It doesn't matter how low of a self-esteem you have. You don't cheat with your best friend's fiance. That's just weirdo behavior. Bye, bitch. I don't care about your sob story. Let's get to the damn smut. Where is it? The funny thing is, the main character replies to the girl and says, I may not have fucked your fiance, but I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. And that was totally sending me, because I'm pretty sure she meant that sincerely, but I'm just like, bro. Anyway, I'm just feeling so tickled by everything that's going on in this book. I'm definitely enjoying myself so far. So I will see you next time. Got Indian food for takeout. Got some garlic naan and some tikka masala and some rice with my tikka masala as well. Pretty much after I updated y'all on Love on the Brain, we immediately dived into a smut scene. And you know what? I knew that dick was big. There's literally a line and I wrote it down. It says, "Is that his cock rubbing against my ass? No, impossible. No one's that big, right?" That's the real reason why this guy couldn't be an astronaut. He said he was too big for the height requirement, but we didn't ask which height was he talking about. Another line that stuck out to me, his hand under my shirt is so large that it completely spans my rib cage. Bro, what? This man got Wreck-It Ralph hands. This book is so unashamedly embracing all the tropes that this author is into, and I just love that I am aligned with that. I was enjoying this book like heteronormative crack. When you pick up this book, you get exactly what you came here for. You know, there's no surprises or anything. You know what you want and you're gonna get it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy my dinner and I'll see you next time. I finished the book Tender is the Flesh. This virus came around that made animal meat poisonous to humans. So what they do now is they eat other people. First they get like this group of humans and then they produce more humans from those other humans. The main character is like a worker who helps like slaughter like other creatures. These humans are literally caged or pumped certain things in a way to make them taste better. It's described in a way that's supposed to be super grotesque. The whole time I'm reading, I'm like, this is exactly what they do to animals like cows and pigs and stuff. That is very good vegetarian propaganda.
That's interesting though, because like,
I mean, okay,
what makes human flesh different from animal flesh?
It's not gonna work scientifically,
but for the sake of this
but
concept,
for the sake of the concept, I will go with it.
There's probably already a black market that exists that does sell human flesh to eat. I think that's the thing.
I wouldn't discount that.
That is my conspiracy theory. I also thought some of the system or hierarchy of the way that meat is handled, I thought that part was interesting because pure meat sells better, as in meat that's like 100% white or something like that, like by a white person. Meat from a pregnant woman is more expensive because you're also eating like whatever baby was in the pregnant woman too.
Do they do anything to differentiate themselves from like the livestock versus like the people who have like rights and freedom and stuff?
Yes, they do, because they don't consider them humans, they just consider them as part of the stock. I think they started off with like criminals, like specific people that like have no other purpose than to just like be eaten.
That reminds me of The Promised Neverland.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen it.
The children are raised as livestock, but instead of like meat, like they're eating the brains, so only the smartest kids get eaten.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow, not me reading an anime book.
Yeah.
So what makes the plot of the book start? What is the conflict? Is that somebody dropped off a female specimen to the guy's place. She's dropped off and then he can't manage himself to kill her, so instead he tries to keep her and do something that you're not supposed to do, which is to treat a livestock like a human being. That's when I was hooked, because I was like, ooh, I want to know what happens. So I'm gonna say spoilers. Okay, so this female specimen, she's like very scared. She doesn't know what's going on. She didn't grow up to be a regular human, right? She was literally made as livestock. She can't even like speak or anything like that. For a while, the guy's like taking care of her, but then At the halfway point in the book, he decides to have sex with her. And that's when I was like, cut the cameras.
That's like really
That is.
ethically gray. Also, she can't consent because she's like,
That's basically raping her.
Yeah.
Yes. At the same time, he's also teaching her things like how to, you know, instead of not shitting in the middle of the floor or whatever, how to use a toilet, you know, like a
That's
civilized
so
human being.
weird.
And see, that's why I think that's fucking weird, right? Because how are you having sex with something, but you're literally teaching them how to survive the world?
you're like raising them like a child, but also having sex with them.
Exactly. Some of his background story is that his father is currently like dying of dementia. Also, he used to have a son, but that son got sick or whatever and died. And ever since that son died, that's how he started viewing the livestock industry, like his workplace, in a different way, because he's like known what it's like to like lose a son. So that's why I was thinking like, okay, if he's having this new relationship with this girl, wouldn't it make more sense for him to view her as like a child that he has?
Right. I'll tell you why. Straight people are sick.
I know.
Sick and
I'm
nasty.
like, ah.
Demented.
And then the rest of the book, I just felt like it was so bad from that, because there was this one scene where a bunch of kids were just abusing a puppy, but then while they were abusing the puppy, like kicking it and being like, oh, I want to eat it, blah, blah, blah. They had expositional dialogue. One of them was like, well, you know, the government doesn't believe blah, 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 blah. Like, and then the other one is like, no, you know, there was that one plan back in 19 blah, 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 where this happened. And they're doing this while fucking abusing a puppy.
Are you kidding me?
And the main guy is watching them abuse a puppy. He's thinking to himself, oh, I can't do anything about this. I can't. There's no way, I can't take them on. And I'm like, your job is literally slaughtering humans every day. You can fucking kick a kid's ass. It's weird because the whole time he's been working in this meat industry and he clearly criticizes the world around him, but he doesn't do anything about it. His only form of rebellion, again, is fucking the female girl. Later on, she becomes pregnant and he's like super protective of this baby that he's gonna have because of the whole thing with him losing his son. In the end, she's finally giving birth. He can't take her to the hospital. What he does instead is he calls his ex-wife because his ex-wife is a nurse, so they get the baby, blah, blah, blah. The main guy finally sits next to the livestock who's still reaching out for the baby, but he's like, hey, everything's gonna be just fine, take it easy. And then it says, when she calms down a little, he stands up and grabs her by the hair. Jasmine, now only able to move her hands, is trying to reach her son. She wants to speak, to scream, but there are no sounds. He picks up the club he brought from the kitchen and hits her on the forehead, right where she's been branded. Jasmine falls to the floor, stunned, unconscious. Cecilia, the ex-wife, jumps when she hears the thud and looks at him without understanding. Why, she yells, she could have given us more children. As he drags the body of the female to the barn to slaughter it, he says to Cecilia, she had the human look of a domesticated animal. And then that's it.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
It
I'm
just-
like, what the fuck was the point then?
Yeah, like what was the point of like building all this like character?
I'm sure the author was doing that on purpose and thinking, oh, this will be a twist to show that at the end of the day,
People don't change.
yeah, people are set in their own ways. But I think that's dumb. I thought that was a really stupid ending.
I think that's kind of a cop-out. I think it's more courageous and more difficult to see that something is wrong or like disagree with how like society is run and then change your position on something and then like stick through it. I think that would have been a greater message than like, oh, humans are the same.
It is much harder to write actual character development than to just write a twist of being like, oh look, he's still the same person.
Like it's so stupid. Like what was the point of the book?
That was a dumb book. We'll see. What should I read next time? Finished a great book called What My Bones Know that made me cry on the subway. So I'll tell you all about it while I make some banana bread for tonight. I put in some of the batter and left it in the fridge all day yesterday. Look at how appetizing it looks. I actually don't know if it's gonna taste good since I left it in the fridge. Anyway, so as I was saying, What My Bones Know, it is a memoir about a journalist diagnosed with complex PTSD. And she decides to use her journalism skills to investigate further hear about this condition because it's not something that's really talked about that often. She dealt with an abusive mom that would verbally and physically abuse her. Even her dad would join in on the abuse too and threaten her life. Even when she grew up to be a successful journalist and she got her dream job and has a loving boyfriend and everything, she still was struggling with a lot of issues. So the diagnosis that she got added a lot of clarity, but it also gave her a lot more questions about how this happened. See her go through multiple different approaches of therapy. And then she also dives into generational trauma because she is an Asian woman who grew up in San Jose, which is also the same city that I grew up in. There are chapters where she decides to visit her hometown and interview some of the teachers that were at her school to try to figure out if they thought there was a lot of abuse happening to the Asian kids there. Because if you grew up in San Jose, you'll know that the community is actually predominantly Asian, even though most of our teachers were white. It was interesting to see their perspectives or their misinterpretations of what Asian kids were struggling with, because obviously they thought that the only thing that we were struggling with were grades and strict parents who wanted us to get straight A's, when really that was just a stereotype. And it made me think a lot about the way that I grew up. I also realized that I did not grease the pan, so we'll see how that goes. While it's baking, I will be eating my dinner. By the time the bread will be done, I will be going to my therapy appointment, which is very fitting because in this book, it really did make me feel like I was going through therapy with this bitch. Fun fact, she follows me on Instagram. I had no idea until I was in the middle of reading this book and I looked her up on Instagram and I saw that. I don't know how she found me. Maybe she just recognized another mentally ill bitch from San Jose. We were of kindred spirits. So I highlighted several lines. I'll read some out loud. We think our sadness is personal, pervasive, and permanent. Permanent in that we have caused all the problems we face. Pervasive in that our entire life is defined by our failings. And permanent in that the sadness will last forever. But as usual, knowing that I am textbook doesn't help me rise off the page. We're both going through it for sure. The parts that made me tear up were actually not when she's talking about the depressing shit. I actually was tearing up from the moments of hope when you are someone who is so deep into the trenches of mental illness. When you're able to find that glimmer of hope, it means a lot. So there's a part where she emphasizes the little things in life and having to hold on to them. I came to see that the little things were everything. The little things were what I held on to at the end of the day. Single jokes that gave me the giggles, a beautiful flower arrangement viewed through the window of a cafe, the fact that my cat came to cuddle me when she saw I was sad. These things gave me hope, pleasure, solace. Together they added up to a fulfilling life. If a simple flower arrangement could make this world just a little more bearable, then perhaps my own small actions meant more than I was giving them credit for. Maybe when I made them dinner or listened to a friend rant or complimented a woman on her incredible garden, I was helping make this world survivable for others. And obviously there are times when she can't be happy or positive all the time. She tends to beat herself up for that, to which the therapist points out to her, you're telling yourself you have to be perfectly happy all the time, and if you're feeling sad, you're fucking up. You're not really recovering. Being healed isn't about feeling nothing. Being healed is about feeling the appropriate emotions at the appropriate times and still being able to come back to yourself. That's just life. This clicked another thing in my brain because I feel like I am so afraid of feeling any negative emotion because I think it's like a sign of failure that I'm slipping back into my mental illness. And it's weird because I feel like I've had similar discussions with my therapist before, but it's this specific book that just clicks it for me. And I think it's because I'm going along this journey with the author. Pain is about feeling real, appropriate, and valid hurt when something bad happens. Suffering is when you add extra dollops to that pain. You're feeling bad about feeling bad. And if the feeling stays, you ask, okay, why is this feeling still in me? And then assume that there's some incredible wisdom in your intuitions and just start listening to them. What is this? What is this thing in my body right now? What are you trying to teach me? You know what? I am 100% talking about everything here to my therapist in a few minutes because this is some good shit right now. This is when she comes to terms with the love and kindness and compassion that she has in her life now. It's shown through the wedding that she has with her partner. They decide that instead of it being about a celebration for them as a couple, it would also be a celebration of love for their family and friends. And it made me tear up on the subway because, I don't know, there's just something about a bitch healing after she's been through some shit that just gets me. And it makes me want to appreciate appreciate the love that I have in my life right now too, whether it's from my partner or my friends. The PTSD had always told me I am alone, that I am unlovable, that I am toxic. But now it is clear to me that was a lie. My PTSD clouded my vision of what was actually happening. Here's the theory. Maybe I had not really been broken this whole time. Maybe I had been a human, flawed and still growing, but full of light nonetheless. Perhaps the only real thing that was broken was the image I had of myself, punishing and unfair, narrow and hypercritical. Perhaps what was really happening was that, along with all of my flaws, I was a fucking wonder. This is the shit that gets me so teary-eyed. Definitely 100% 5 out of 5 stars. This is probably gonna be the best book that I've read all year. My banana bread is gonna be ready in 1 minute. I'm telling you right now, my banana bread is burnt. I can already tell from peeking into the oven. Here's how it looks like. Completely burnt. This is my mental health in a nutshell. But you know what? Beneath these burnt parts is actually edible parts. And that's also my mental health in a nutshell. I don't know if this metaphor makes any sense, but it makes sense in my head. Cheers. Seems edible to me. And I put a bunch of chocolate chips in it so that it'd be extra yummy. All right, I'll see you next time for the next book. I read The Good Sister during my flight to Thailand because it was a long ass flight. This is advertised as like a mystery thriller, but I don't really feel like it was that much of a thriller, and I think that's why I'm kind of in the middle with it. It's about 2 pairs of sisters. They are fraternal twins. One of them is a librarian who is on the spectrum. I think she has autism, but it's never explicitly stated. But she definitely has sensory processing disorder. She's very sensitive to a lot of loud noises and certain lights, and she likes things in a very specific way. Her twin has always been her protector and best friend since they were young. They're very close. Even though they're adults now, they have dinner 3 nights a week. In between certain chapters, you see flashbacks from when they grew up as kids. They had to deal with an abusive mom, and that mom cycling through different boyfriends. That's how this dynamic of this protective sister happens from there. How the plot begins is the main character, who is the autistic sister, she finds out that her protective sister is trying to have a baby, but she can't. The autistic sister has an idea where she will go ahead and get pregnant so that she can give the baby to her sister. This is like a way for her to pay her sister back for everything that she's done for her. So she's like, all right, I just need to find the dad that I can hook up with and get pregos, and then bam, I got a baby right there. She meets like this guy that she thinks is homeless in the library, but it turns out he's just some dude that lives in a van. They start to have this relationship, and I actually really liked reading about their relationship, but it's also hinted that the main character did something a long time ago when they were young. She made a grave mistake that she could not take back. The other sister had to help cover it up, and that's like the big secret that's kind of in the back of their minds and it's not revealed till later. The whole thing that the book is trying to do to intrigue you is to give you unreliable narrators. Like, you're not sure which sister you're supposed to trust because both of them are saying things in their own narration that is not like adding up. However, I did find that it was kind of predictable who the reliable narrator was or what was actually going on. That's why even though I found the characters to be endearing and quirky and interesting, I feel like from the thriller aspect, it wasn't as juicy as I would have liked. The juice was not there for me. That's why I'm gonna go with 3 stars, but I still liked it enough to finish it on the plane and wanted to keep on reading it. It was the kind of book that I needed while my life was being chaotic and hectic with traveling around. Overall, I feel like I read a good variety of books and also tried a good variety of food in the different places I visited. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Go ahead and unsubscribe from my channel, and goodbye.
Bye.